Hey, today on the podcast, I cover one of the sweetest stories. I actually didn't know this happened until I was rereading my Bible. But what ends up happening after Abraham returns from Egypt is he ends up splitting off from his nephew. Now, you can imagine that this guy, Lot, is basically like a son to Abraham. He's traveled all over the place. Abraham doesn't have any kids himself. This is his nephew, right? His brother died, and so he basically took on Lot as his own son. But what ends up happening is Lot and Abraham split up because their herds become too big and they basically are eating all of the pasture, and the people of that land were getting ticked off at them. And so Lot ends up going to this city called Sodom. Now, Sodom, it was a super wicked city, and there was actually a lot of warring that happened at that time. And some kings from surrounding areas end up coming in and basically destroying that city because the city was rebelling against the kings. So the kings, it was 4 kings who came together. They had 800,000 troops, and they come in and they conquer the city and they take Lot captive. Abraham hears about this and he's okay, dude, how many people we got here? And he pulls together 318 people that are with him, which are mostly servants and herdsmen and stuff like that. They're not really warriors, and he equips them for war, right? And then he goes and he tracks them down to about 200 miles away north in this city called Dan, and they end up basically night attacking them, this army of 800,000. And in the surprise of the night, totally not expecting this, he ends up breaking up this entire army of 800,000. They end up fleeing all over the place, and Abraham is able to not only recover Lot and all of Lot's possessions, but he recovers all of the possessions and the wives and all the captives and all that stuff that were taken by this enemy army and brings them back to Sodom. So it's one of these crazy stories. You don't get to hear all of these details in the Bible itself. What I'm currently reading is the book of Jasher, which is part of the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha means the lost books of the Bible, or the books that never made it into the Bible. And they tell way more detail about these Bible stories. It's super fascinating. If you want to check it out, if you want to learn some more, you can go check out my latest podcast. I just dropped this episode on the story of Abraham's recovering Lot today. If you want to go see it, it's the most recent one. All right, see you there.